Royals drop the series against San Diego Padres, but they still give themselves a 4-2 road trip, keeping themselves right in the thick of that wild card race. We'll talk about this series and preview a massive homestand coming up for the Royals with the Rays and the Dodgers coming to town. We'll do that right now live on One Royal Way on a Sunday night. We're back at it here on Kansas City Sports Network. I'm Joel Penfield. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We are live on a Sunday night as always. So make sure if you're watching this now, like the video, make sure you're subscribed. And if you're listening to this on the audio side, make sure you subscribe, hit those leave a review if possible, and hit those notification bells on all platforms so you know when these episodes go live and when they're up 3 days a week. This show, as always, brought to you by Emprise Bank, member FDIC, our partners in Possible here at Kansas City Sports Network and on the One Royal Way podcast. We can't thank them enough for that support. Bit of a tough series for the Royals out west in San Diego. Started great on Friday. They dropped the next two. Today, kind of in a heartbreaker. Get walked off on a Sunday afternoon. But as I mentioned, you still get a 4-2 road trip when they desperately needed to get off the mat. After a terrible homestand against the Yankees and the A's. And they showed signs of life. There's still some good things that we saw in this series despite the results. Mainly Friday and Sunday, I think there were still some things that, you like to see. Some things we can talk about, that maybe led to the loss today, and we'll go from there. But we'll start with the game on Friday. You end up winning 6-5, started off early with a Bobby Homer, and then and then the fifth offensively, Jonathan India gets into 403 feet. I mean, that was a big time homer. And I really wasn't able to watch this game per se because it was on Apple TV. I don't have Apple TV, and I'm too lazy to do the free subscription thing because I end up like the free trial because then I forget and then I end up paying for it. And I don't feel like doing that. I don't know if it's just principle or what. But it's 4-0, and you're feeling pretty good about where you're at. Michael Lorenzen threw the ball pretty well in this game. It wasn't spectacular, but when you consider, again, your fifth starter, you had some blow-ups there, threw the ball all right against the A's, and then threw the ball pretty well in this game. 5 hits, 2 earned. I think one of those is inherited, and 4 strikeouts, the 3 walks. The walks are just kind of a thing for him. It's just a matter of how much are they gonna hurt you. But he was for the most part fine in this game. The biggest points of this game came late with Angel Serpa coming in the game in the 6th with a couple on, and I think there was 1 out in the inning. Yeah, 1 out with Xander Bogaerts up, single for Cronenworth, and it was just kind of a 50 hopper. They were playing him to pull, and it just gets to the right of Jonathan India. So then you got bases loaded, and runners on first and second with 2 outs now, single for Jose Iglesias. It's 4-2, and then the massive double play to get out of the inning. When they really, really needed that because they were in peril of kind of blowing the momentum at that point. Nothing doing in the top. Lucas Erceg comes on in the 7th, and this is where, again, you go to your best guy in the 7th with the heart of the order coming up. And this was an uncharacteristic game for Erceg. And he had it again on Sunday, but we'll get there in a minute. Walks Tatis, and then gives up the ground rule double to Machado, then gives up the hit to Sheets. And I think there was 2 strikes on him, if I recall. It was 0-1. It was a changeup away. It really wasn't a bad pitch. I think there was 2 strikes today on the hitter. That's where I got mixed up. And you throw a pretty decent changeup, the guy gets the barrel on it, and it's unfortunately the result, but the previous guys get on, and then Bogaerts singles, eventually you get out of the inning. But it was just like, man, that's your best guy or one of your best guys, and he can't come through for you. And now I'll preface this, and this is more of a catch-all conversation regarding Lucas Erceg. Like, this is probably the worst stretch he's had as a member of the Kansas City Royals. And he's been – the overall numbers, even including today, are still very good in total as a member of the Royals. It's a 2.58 ERA, and now it's going to go up a little bit today, but not by much. In about 53 innings. And he's been great. 51 strikeouts to 8 walks, and been a really solid pitcher for this team. Everybody slumps. It's part of this game. It's why over 162 you see guys that ebb and flow throughout the season. It just happens to be when this team really needs Lucas Erceg to lock it down. Pre and post IL stint for him just hasn't been the same guy. Now, do I think he's going to get it turned around? Yes, he's still a very, very good pitcher, and he had little blips like this last year, and then he'd be able to course correct. And I trust Brian Sweeney, Zach Bove to get this righted so that he can be the guy for this team that we know he can be. This is not the end for him. He's going to get it figured out. I'm not overly concerned, and then the game today got away from him as well. Gives up 2 in the 8th and, end up losing a ball game. But guys slump, guys go through this. He's going to get it figured out. It's just a matter of how quickly can he get it figured out. And get right. I mean, obviously he's still probably fighting the back injury just a little. Do you think he should have had another rehab appearance in Omaha? If he was a starter, maybe. With relievers, it's a little different. Maybe you think about a second rehab, but they must have felt fine about, where he was at. He must have felt fine. And this may not be a back thing. This may be something mechanical or something, that he needs to work on. He has been in the strike zone pretty consistently, but he's in the middle. And even throwing 98, sometimes, that can get barreled up. You're doing a lot of the work for the hitter, providing the velocity. So he needs to be on the corners a little more. He really couldn't find the slider, and I think that was the biggest problem on Friday, was he was spraying that down and in, couldn't land it for a strike, and so it made him fastball changeup. And so at that point, you're flipping a coin as a hitter, and you're sitting fastball, adjust the changeup. It makes it a lot easier to hit when you're basically 50, even if you're 50-50 as a reliever. Like when you have that third pitch and you can't land it, it makes it a lot easier to hit. Now, this is where I wanted to see where this team was mentally going into that 8th inning, because we've seen this team last year. I say this team, but I think you know what I mean. Like a lot of these guys were a part of the team last season. Like so many of the core guys were. And I want to see how they would get off the mat when you had a 4-0 lead. You're going, you're feeling good. You're going to steal one on the road in kind of dominating fashion. And then San Diego comes all the way back. How do you respond? Last season, we saw this team punch, counter punch all year. And they were a pain in the ass to play for that reason, because they were never out of it. Even if they weren't playing their best game or they had a big lead and blew it, they would just find a way to win it. So I wondered how they'd respond. 8th inning, Michael singles, Vinny walks, Salvi line drive single, 5-4. Jack comes up. He ends up striking out. That was kind of a bigger spot for him. John Rafe steals third. I thought that was a great spot there. He came on and pinch ran for Vinny in that spot. And the reason why I loved stealing third there, and I know it's kind of sketchy, like it's a harder base to steal, but you had a righty up in Fermin. And you have Jason Adam, who relies a ton on his breaking stuff because his fastball, even though it kind of rides at the top of the zone, it's not overpowering. So he flips breaking balls in quite a bit. So you knew and I think he threw, of the first 4 hitters he faced, he threw 1 first pitch fastball. So he's looking to get over slider or change up and get ahead that way. So first pitch, he's able to steal because he flipped over a slider. You get to third, Freddie ends up striking out, trying to lay down the bunt. Not a great situation for him. Not a great moment for Freddie when he's normally comes through in those spots or is able to get the bunt down and at least make it a play. But shout out to Drew Waters, who came in later in the game. I thought he had just pinch hit. Turns out he had come in earlier in the game. I think it was for Nick Lofton. And that was my mistake. I was listening to the radio broadcast, and I must have missed that when it came through, because I tweeted that was a good move by Q, and it still was ultimately. It ends up working out that Drew Waters gets the hit. And I know that it's tough for people to admit when Matt Contreras does anything good, but hey, the move worked out, right? So those people were quiet. That's right. So But huge moment for Drew, gives you a 2-run lead, which ended up being really big because in the 9th inning, Manny Machado comes up and hits an opposite field homer. It's 6-5 off of Estevez. And you're like, oh boy, here we go. But he ends up getting the next 3 guys to pop out. And you end up getting out of the game and you end up getting out of there with a win. Carlos Estevez leads the league in saves and has been very effective. I think he has 3 blown saves. 2 of them are with the Manfred runner at second. So that almost counts as a half, in my opinion. The only true one was to the Rockies, which is just a funny baseball oddity. I will say this about Carlos Estevez. Like, he's got some Greg Holland in him, or he's going to get the job done. Like, he's going to get you the save. He's going to help you win a ball game, but you're going to sweat it out a little bit. There are some of those qualities then. Like, every third save is like, I'm sitting there like, oh God, what's about to happen here? But ultimately he gets the job done and you end up winning a game. So you take that for what it is and you move on. That got you back to 500 at that point, obviously not knowing how the next 2 games would go. But in this game, like, India gives you 3 hits. Michael stays hot. Cags ripped a double down the line. So you got some offensive contributions. Bobby ended up going 1 for 5, but obviously the home run is big to see him, get some pull side power. And when he's able to elevate the ball pull side, he's really dialed. And we're starting to see that a little bit more. He got the one in Texas. He's got at this point now a 7-game hitting streak. So he's starting to get going a little bit. And when he starts going, Michael is going. Cags is starting to get more comfy. Maybe we see the offense start to continue to trend. And it had obviously trended for those 4 games. A little different story in the next 2, and we'll talk about that right after this break.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Folks, it's playoff time, and if you're still just watching the games, then you're missing out. With Pick 6 from DraftKings, you can turn your hoops knowledge into real cash. Just make your picks, track your score, and if you hit all 6, you're looking at bigger payouts than Prize Picks flex plays. Nobody's dropping better payouts than Pick 6. Hit 6 picks, and that's 25 times your cash. And if you beat your competition, you could be looking at a 500 times bag in your pocket. And right now, new customers can get $50 in bonus picks with just a $5 entry. Here's what you got to do. The playoffs are on, so why not take a shot at making a little money while you're watching? Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app right now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN to play $5 and get $50 in bonus picks. Better payouts, bigger wins, only on Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdictions. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I just zone out watching Tucker just bounce around the screen the whole time. I appreciate everybody that's hanging out with us live here on a Sunday night. I'm going to try and get through the second half of this show as quickly as I can. It's Game 7 for the Thunder, and I am trying to watch a little bit of that before the night is out. Al, hopping in here. I'll take a 4-2 road trip, tough homestand ahead. Yeah, we'll talk about that homestand coming up here at the end of the show. 4-2 road trip, they needed it. And I know that the next 2 games of the series did not go well, but if you told me before the before the week, like, hey, what are the Royals going to do? I'm like, they're probably going to go through. I'm hoping for 3-3. Like, you split it, and that gets you going back in the right place, but it may not give you exactly what you need. I think a winning homestand, getting that sweep, I think that relieves some pressure a little bit. And now, you're going to come back home, not necessarily with some confidence over the last years, but I think they know, like, okay, we know what we're capable of, right? Like, this, maybe getting away from home for a little bit and kind of the pressure of, being at home and things not going well, it can kind of work the same way, like a tough homestand, or a tough road trip. I mean, like, all right, hey, let's get back home. I'll sleep in my own bed. We'll be ready to go. I almost kind of worked in reverse, it seemed, for this team. There really wasn't a lot to talk about, I'll be honest, from the game on Saturday. You lose 5-1. My main takeaway was Dylan Cease is really good. I mean, I love watching him pitch, because I mean, it is big fastball, sweeping slider. He's kind of all over the place, got kind of that effectively wild approach, but he is very good, and he's had a solid year so far. I think the 4.43 is not indicative of how good he actually is, and he had those dudes in knots. I mean, he had 19 swings and misses for a team that doesn't strike out a lot, and he really didn't strike out a ton of guys. Only had 4. It was just kind of an odd game in that regard. Like, a lot of weak contact, a lot of early count outs. He gets into the 7th. I think he threw 110 pitches, which was kind of nuts to me. But, he held it down. The only run comes on a John Rave double, which, hey, good for him, heading out of the 9 spot. Still not doing a ton offensively to make me think he needs to be in the lineup more than a couple days a week. But, and that spot comes up, and, you'll take it. One of the most impressive things to me out of this game that I want to spend some time on is Jack Caglione. And he didn't get a hit in this game. He only has the one at bat, or the one true at bat. He has 4 plate appearances in the game. He walked in 2 of them, and he got hit by a pitch in the other. And that hit by pitch was in an 0-2 count, so it was a mistake by Cease. But you take that. That's one of those, we take those sort of moments, because 0-2, who knows what you're going to get. Cease is going to try and get you. As we talked about early on, or, in the previous series, in that Texas series, and looked like he was starting to get comfortable a little bit, then that getting those home runs was going to help him settle in. It seems like that's the case, because he looked comfy in the box in the series. Despite some results not going his way, he looked really comfortable, especially against Dylan Cease. And that's not a comfortable at bat. Again, it's fastballs top of the zone and just a slider that falls off the table at your back foot. And he comes up in that first at bat in 2nd inning with 2 out, and you kind of wonder how he's going to attack him. And it's slider down. He spits on it. Slider down again. He spits on it. He gets a fastball in, 2-0. He's, kind of geared up, dead red, fouls it off, and then fouls off 2 really good sliders on the kind of the dead zone, or the down and in, fouls those off. He gets another big slider down in it, kind of down, and again, spits on it. I think Jack a week ago swings at those, and he showed really good patience to get him back in the zone there. Like, all right, come at me here. And then 3-2 stone cold take on a fastball down and in. It was not a strike. It's not like he got lucky, but 3-2, Cease tries to go like on a freeze fastball down and in, and Jack takes it and doesn't hack. Really didn't chase 1 out of the zone, but it was a 2-0 fastball. Like, that's a spot where, like, get your ace swing off. The dude's going to try and get back in the zone. Doesn't want a 2-out walk. Doesn't want to go 3-0 in that situation. It would have been 3-0, but the point being, that's a spot where you kind of take your shot. And then he didn't chase after that. That's growth. That was a great plate appearance. And that's the kind of stuff that I've wanted to see. Like, we know the type of power, we know what he can do when he makes contact, but that's the kind of stuff that is going to keep you in the big leagues and keep you being effective, is taking those walks. And I understand we want Jack to swing and do damage, but he can't do it all the time. He has to be able to show some semblance of patience and not chase a ton, because when you expand that much, you're not going to get pitches to hit. He gets it kind of earns the right for a guy, kind of like Steve Spagnuolo talking about stopping the run. You earn the right to rush the passer. Taking walks and showing some patience, you earn the right for some of those, get me over pitches when a guy starts you out 2-0, and then you can go bridge at that point. Later on in the game, he's facing Cease again. Breaking ball away, spits on it. Fastball in, spits on it again. It's 2-0. And again, he takes his shot on a 2-0 fastball. It was in and a strike. And I think one of these pitches, they put two kind of in the same spot with that fastball. And he almost hit it out. He hooked it foul. And then slider down, spits on it again, fastball in, take. Again, another really solid plate appearance, not expanding his zone to such a degree that it's, that it's either concerning or that he is chasing, just to such a level that it continues to show some of the youth. I kind of lost my words there. I apologize. Regardless, that's growth, and that's the type of thing that we want to see. And that's the thing that he needed to learn how to do at the big league level. He wasn't going to do that in AAA. Maybe he has plate appearances like that in spurts, but he was going to continue to hack in AAA. And this was part of what he needed to learn. And there's so much that's going on behind the scenes. I know Zumi's working with him a lot behind the scenes, and they're excited about what he's going to be. And I think you continue to see that from him, that this guy's going to be a very good player. And it's just a matter of stacking at-bats and stacking days like this for him to continue to grow, and then we're going to see the results come, just like we did in that last game in Texas where he gets his first 2 homers. He looks comfy. He looks settled in. He hit a ball hard again today for I think it was a damn near foul ball homer. The next adjustment, and you're seeing it a lot, Cease did it. Even Randy Vasquez today did it, where, all right, he's not chasing, but they're pounding him with fastballs up and in, right? Like, can you turn on this? And that's the next adjustment. And he got a fastball up today, and he crushed it. He just happened to hit it about 1.5 feet foul. Maybe a little more than that. It looked like it on TV, whatever. My point being, once that's now the adjustment to the adjustment. All right, he's not chasing as much. Now we're going to attack him up and in until he shows us he can punish it. Once he starts to punish a couple of those, there aren't many holes that people can go to anymore. So we'll see what he's able to do and how he's able to continue to adjust. And what's been impressive is how quickly he's made those adjustments. We saw him swinging at God knows everything early, started to pare down on that a little bit, start to see some hard contact and some hits come with it. Then it's okay. It's not just the chase. It's being able to work counts and, worry, not swing early in the count, make the pitcher come to you a little bit, take your shot. Now we're seeing that. Okay. Now let's be able to turn on those fastballs up and in. And I don't think it's like a hole in his swing sort of thing, because it's not like you swing through it. It's like he's just a tick off, and he's fouling them back, fouling them straight up. Once he's able to start to turn on those, we see that next progression. And that's where I think we'll see more homers start to come from, more extra base hits, and we'll go from there. Really wasn't much else. Noah Cameron was all right. The walks were a bit of an issue. Didn't really have a ton of swing and miss, which is part of, I think, where if you do have any concerns for Noah Cameron, it's that he just doesn't get a lot of a swing and miss. And when the BABIP gods are not in his favor, it's just going to be one of those days. He needs to be in the zone a little more. I think he walked Martin Maldonado, who in the year of our Lord 2025 is still getting at bats. Not ideal. Taylor Clark got blown up. I mean, maybe the jig is up with him. He gave up a home run on Tatis. He was good there for a couple of weeks, but I don't know if you can count on him much longer. And we'll see where they decide to go with Kyle Wright, Alec Marsh, coming down the line more right, a little further along in his rehab. That's a name to watch to get possibly have Taylor Clark not in the big league bullpen anymore. It's just one of those things. It was a good story there for a little bit, but I don't think it's something you can count on much longer. Today was kind of brutal. You lose 3-2, you get walked off in the 9th inning. Offensively, they didn't have any answers for a guy that really has not been great this year in Randy Vasquez. I know that the ERA is like 3.6, but the FIP is near 5.5 or greater. I think it was 5.88 when I looked at it on Thursday. You got a good chance to get something going against a guy that doesn't have overpowering stuff. He's going to sink it. He's going to cut it. He's going to throw a bunch of pitches. And he was all around the zone, and he was over the middle of the zone a lot. couldn't square him up. And it was concerning early in the game. I'm like, man, hopefully Lugo's got his good stuff today. And Lugo did. And Lugo pitched his ass off and pitched really well. He only gives up the 1 run, and it was an inherited runner. 7 strikeouts, no walks, 6 1/3. He gets into the 7th inning. They take him out. Zerpa comes in. He ends up getting the hole, but gives up an inherited runner, the runner on second that Lugo gave up. Now, this was a point of contention for people because he was only at 90 pitches, and it was a spot where, hey, maybe you let Lugo ride it out, right? And you let him try and get this on his own, try and get through the 7th. Here is my point here. I'm sorry, I lost my reply here. Give me just a moment. I had the numbers here. I sent it in a tweet earlier. With Lugo, 3rd time through. So this is what I wanted to look at because I saw where he was at in the order. He was near the top of the order with Tatis and I think it was Bogarts, with the middle of the order coming up. And I understand it was 90 pitches. It's not like it's some magic number right at 100 or 90 to 100 that you have to take the guy out. But it's usually times through the order is what coaches are looking at. And naturally, if you look across baseball, first time you see a guy, it's usually a pretty low batting average. Second time through, it's a little higher. Third time through, it gets higher. Like the more you see a guy, naturally, you're going to have a better idea based on your scouting reports of what they're going to be able to do and you're able to do damage. That's where guys are taken out, not pitch count more often than not, depending on the inning. But as you get to the 6th, 7th, it's not always about pitch count. It's about where the guy's at. First time through, the slash coming into today, it's not updated yet. It's 234, 287, 346, 633 OPS first time through. Second time through, it's a $188, 265, 337, a 602 OPS. And that's, I think, where Lugo's ability to throw a billion different pitches comes in because he can completely change the scouting report on you that second time through. But the 3rd time through, and it's not an incredibly small sample. I want to say it's around 70 plate appearances this season. It's the slash is 270, 313, 571, and 885 OPS. So you got about a 250 or 270 point jump in OPS. And in a game where you only have 2 runs on the Salvador Perez homer, I would rather them take him out a batter early than a batter late. And then the inning unravels because you already have maybe a crooked number on the board, and then you got your reliever coming into a really contentious spot, and it can just unravel. So I would rather go batter to batter 3rd time through, runner on, all right, hey, let's pull the ripcord here. Our bullpen's been good lately. Zerpa's pitched well. We need to get Erceg right. We know we still have Cruz and Estevez that can go if we need it. Turn it over. And I think that's a completely fair thing. And unfortunately, because Zerpa doesn't come through and Erceg blows at the next inning or later in the inning, because the inning kind of unraveled on them regardless, it makes it more amplified. But the process of what they were doing was correct, even if you want to argue it. I understand the frustration with the move, but it's the frustration with the results and not the process, right? Like, I think the process was sound. The numbers are right there. And this is all easily accessible information. It's all right there. You can look. So rather than just getting angry and not knowing what you're angry at, go look at the numbers. That's what I did when I looked and saw he's at 90 pitches. I don't know. That's what it was. So whether you want to, whatever, I don't need to go down that rabbit hole. The other one today, late in the game, it's 2-2. It's in the 9th. And you get a 2-out knock. Let me make sure I get the right there. Oh, by the way, Jack Caglione robbed a homer, and that was sick. In the 8th inning. It was in the 8th inning? Son of a gun. When was it? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong game. My goodness. I'm all out of sorts, guys. I apologize. I clicked on the wrong game. It was when Erceg was in the 7th. Jackson Merrill comes up and it was about as effortless as it gets for Cags to make that play, playing, I only have, about 30 games total, 35 games total in his career in right field. Helps me in 6'5", that's for sure. But he's looking comfy out there too. I don't think he's going to be a right fielder long term, but he made that play look really effortless. And for that to be the case when a guy has not spent a lot of time out there, that's a really impressive play to make. And especially at that spot in the game, it's still tied. I mean, that was a massive, massive play in that game. Ninth inning, Drew Waters walks, 2-out walk against Robert Suarez. And that's a tough guy to face. I mean, that's hundos, and he's just peppering you with fastballs. And that's about all he throws. I mean, he has some breaking balls, but I think he's like 70% fastball variant, either fastball, sinker, cut, or whatever. Freddie hits a line drive to right center. Waters is going, and listen, Waters isn't an average to above average. He's probably an above average runner. Sprint speed has him like 60th percentile. I think that sounds about right. Like he's a well enough runner that you think ball in the gap, 2 outs running on contact, he can score. And he got thrown out by a good 5 feet. And on a really to the credit of the Padres, it was a great relay from Merrill to Iglesias to Elias Diaz. Great play. I tip my cap. That's how you run a relay. Now to the other side of it. I need to go back and watch because the TV copy, you can see ball in the gap and Waters running, but it looks like he doesn't kick it into gear until it's clearly in the gap. And you know from Little League, 2 outs, you're moving on contact. And you get a ball in the gap, you got to go and go like right away on contact. Not, oh, that ball's down, I got to go. And that 5 feet, if he just goes from jump, he scores or it's at least close. It's closer, bang, bang play. Maybe you get lucky on the side of review, out or safe. Instead, it looked like he didn't get a good read on it, even with 2 outs, and you end up losing the game basically from that spot because the Padres walk it off in the next inning. The thing that I saw on social of people, again, wanting to, Monday morning quarterback every decision the manager makes. Why not Tyler Tolbert pinch hitting or pinch running there? You have Tyler Tolbert on the roster. Why not? I think if Cags got on and it was runner on first, you pinch run. Like earlier, the first 2 outs of the inning were Salvi and Cags. If either one of those guys get on, Tyler Tolbert's running like 100%. I would have zero doubt that that's the case. Waters is a good enough runner that you would expect him to score on a ball in the gap. Right? And in almost any situation, like 2 outs, moving on contact, that needs to be a run or at least a very close play at the plate to where, man, that's just a great defensive play and we're not having to have this conversation. I wouldn't have pinch ran Tolbert there because Waters is a good enough runner. Like, it may be that he is just like fast, but not baseball speed. You know what I mean? And I said baseball speed on Twitter. I meant that more of like a catch-all, like you're efficient running the bases. You have your steps right. You hit the corner of the bag and you go like Mikel's a great example of that. Not the fastest dude in the world, but can steal bases, is an efficient runner. Bobby is like the teach tape definition of how to run on a baseball field in addition to being the fastest dude in the league. So it's a tough spot for Drew Waters. I want to go back and watch. Just to my eye, what I saw was him kick it into gear when the ball was in the gap and not on contact. And that 2 or 3 seconds is the difference in out versus safe in that spot. And that's a tough way to lose. If there is anything that I'm going to question, and just I never saw an answer, I would love to know. Obviously, I'm not there because I'm not in San Diego. But with 2nd and 3rd and 2 and 1 out in the 9th, game-winning run on 3rd, they chose to pitch to Jose Iglesias with a runner on and infield in, with first base open in infield in. I would want to know why they decided against just intentionally walking Iglesias. Who was coming up after? Let me get. It would have been Tyler Wade, or no, it would have been something Johnson, B. Johnson, Bryce Johnson, who's a switch hitter and a dude that's hitting 444 in regular season, but a career 513 OPS guy. So not a huge sample, but again, not a world beater. And then you have a chance for a double play ball, or at minimum force at any base, live to fight another day with Elias Diaz coming up ninth with 2 outs. Instead, with the base open, it's basically, if there's a ball on the ground, you have to make a play at the plate. Instead, you give yourself the chance for a double play or force out at any base, and you live to fight. But I think pitching with the base open, that's the second or third time we've seen that this season, and I found it odd. And I don't know if that's just pure trust in the pitcher to execute and get, that you're looking strikeout there. But Schreiber's he has strikeout ability. He's not a huge strikeout guy. Not a great situation there. I didn't love it. That's the one thing I will look back at this game and go, man, I don't know about that one. But you'll live to fight another day, and we'll see what this team has coming up here. This week. This is a huge homestand coming up. You got 3 against the Rays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then the Dodgers coming to town Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I think Shohei's going to pitch this weekend. I'm not exactly sure what day. He pitched today, so I think that would make it probably Saturday if all goes right, or if they're going 6th day. I'm not 100% how that goes. But you may see Shohei pitch for an inning or 2 if you get out to the K this weekend, see the Dodgers. So that's pretty damn cool. I wish I could get out to that series this weekend, but I cannot. I'll talk about that here in a little bit. I'm going to keep saying it. It's kind of the motto of this podcast right now. Like, what is this team made of? Right? You got the Rays, who are red freaking hot, coming in. Let me get the probables here for you as I'm talking about it. Clicked on the wrong thing. I am just all out of sorts tonight, guys. I say that most Sunday nights, to be honest with you. Great radio here as I'm trying to tap through the screen. It's going to be Taj Bradley against Chris Bubich on Tuesday. Wednesday is going to be Michael Walker versus Drew Rasmussen. And then Thursday is going to be Shane Baz, who the Royals lit up again in Tampa, and then Michael Lorenzen. So you got at least 2 favorable matchups, or pretty favorable matchups, with Walker and Bubich. Bradley's got an ERA near 5. Some of that maybe is just inflated by the offensive environment in Tampa, but kid's talented. But this is a chance to get to him, and I think they got to him a little bit in that series in Tampa when they swept him. So the opportunity is right there for this team, and they have to take advantage of these games. And these are games against teams that are going to be well above 500. And that's something that the Royals have struggled with this year. They're 19-30 against teams with a 500 record. Now it's time to change that. What are you made of? Let's see what you're able to do. You're 10.5 back the division. That's lost and dead. I'm not worried about it. The Tigers are a freaking wagon. But you're 2 games out of a wild card spot. You're 1 series from getting right into it. You're 1 back in the or in the win column of the Guardians and the Mariners, who are hanging on to the 3rd spot, tied for it. The Red Sox, I don't know what they're going to look like. After maybe the spike of winning a couple of games post Devers, and then they went to the Giants and really didn't play that great. So we'll see what they end up doing here. The run differential is negative 21 for the Royals, so it's not like. It's a little concerning. The expected win-loss, I'm not exactly sure how that's calculated, but it has Royals at 36-42. They're 38-40 right now. So a couple games shifted, kind of fluky wins, I think, is how they, for the lack of a better scientific term, like some fluky BS, like the winning the game against the Rockies, winning that walk-off game against the Red Sox, and he probably didn't deserve to win. That White Sox game when the ball went off of Mydroth's head, like probably those are the games that are kind of being factored in here. The Rays have a plus 70 run differential, and they pitch really well. Their offense is getting going. Yandy Diaz is red hot. And the Rays, for teams above, playing teams above 500 are 26-18. So what do you have? You played some good baseball. You got, you had a game. You kind of snatched defeat from the jaws of victory today. And we'll see what you're able to do and what you're able to accomplish. Coming back home. We'll see what they have. I'm excited. I still think this is a team that can still make some noise. And I know that I'm going to sound like a homer. I get it. But they showed this week what they are capable of. And now they just have to continue to stack days and stack wins. If you saw a tweet from Josh Kaiser earlier when I tweeted out like the little promotional thing about, hey, come hang out. There's a programming note is if you're watching this, if you're audio only, I normally have on my you guys watching the left-hand side, I got a KC Pilsner sign here and I got a Chiefs sign here, you know, kind of for my podcast background, all that. Those are not there anymore. That's because I am moving. My family and I are moving. We're packing up the house we're in right now. We were blessed and fortunate enough to be able to purchase a house for our family, you know, coming up here. We're closing on that on Wednesday. We are so fortunate for that. But part of that is I got to pack up all my stuff. And we're in the process of that. My house is just covered in boxes right now. It's kind of nuts. But because of that, and we're going to be out of this house on Tuesday. So no podcast from me. However, Josh Kaiser and Jordan Foote are going to be stepping in, pinch hitting for me, recapping the Tuesday night game against the Tampa Bay Rays. I think they are planning to go live. So post-game Tuesday night, come hang out with Jordan and Josh. You'll hear some of their thoughts on the season at whole and a recap of the Tuesday night game against Tampa. That was there. Just I think they were planning to go live, but I don't know if they're going to. Regardless, the next episode you're going to hear is from Jordan and Josh. I plan to be back on Thursday night, but that's also the day that all of my stuff is getting moved in. So depending on how tired I am, you may not hear from me Thursday night, but I will let you guys know at a minimum Friday mid-morning is at the latest. I'll get a recap of the Rays series and then preview the Dodgers. So that's how it's going to work this week. We'll be all back to normal after this next episode. So be sure to give Jordan and Josh some love. Subscribe, like, rate, review, all those good things. I will talk to you guys, in about 5 days. Hopefully we got some good baseball to talk about, and appreciate all the love and support. And we'll talk soon. Take care, everybody.